Rice hits back a bit of McClean. Ireland job's a dream for Keane, and it's triple the fun from the FAI coming September. All this and more on Lansdowne Roar. David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast. And as always, if you like what you see, you love what you hear, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, and head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. Did I say Twitter? It's a bit rusty, man. I'm a bit rusty here, Martin. I do apologise. And also, if you wouldn't mind, give the old YouTube channel a go, please. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, and all that happy stuff. Sorry to our lovely Raw faithful out there. This is our first episode in quite a while. I do apologise. A couple of things you might notice: the sound quality for me isn't where I'd like it to be. That's because my rabbit ate my headphones. My rabbit actually did eat my headphones, Martin, and real life getting in the way. So we are back. We're in business, Martin. And what an episode we have today. We actually had to call a bit of an audible, didn't we? We're going to talk about a couple of different things. And then this whole thing has come up with James McClean. We're not going to talk about that just yet. First of all, Martin, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, real life has gotten away a bit, but also been very distracted by the Euros, trying to catch up with as many games as possible. Incredibly jealous looking on. I mean, look, we haven't actually had a chat for a while, and Scotland are already on their way home. But I did enjoy seeing the Tartan Army over there and all the kind of viral videos. It did remind me a little bit of how our fans have behaved on our travels over the years. But yeah, I'm just very jealous of it. I mean, I think fan culture, I think this is the one. I mean, if you think about the last Euros, I know we weren't in it, but, you know, the debacle of Wembley, as we've spoken about on the podcast before.
Yep.
This one, I think, is a real one where I think a lot of the fans are engaging in it, and you're seeing a lot of fan culture coming out. Like even some of these lower ranked teams or perceived to be lower ranked teams, you know, their fans are really celebrating the fact their country are playing on the world stage. And it's been a good tournament so far. Enjoyed the football, and one thing I would say though, I mean, England's qualified, haven't they, without only a draw and a win, and other results are played into their hands. But that
very happy over that, Martin, aren't you?
I'm a little bit. No, no, but I just think the format. Then it takes a little bit of interest out of things. When you're actually looking to see who the 4 best third teams are going to be, really, and it's still all to play for, of course. But that's just how it's going to work.
I can remember when it was 8 teams, top 2 qualified for the semi-finals. I don't think that worked really. Although that was the format for a while. But yeah, I've watched bits of it. I haven't watched it as much, unfortunately. Real life getting in the way and all that. I did watch the England-Denmark game, and I thought England were absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. I actually called it. I was watching. I had some family over, and who's the guy that scored a goal against England?
Oh, I don't know.
Danish fella. Anyway, Danish
fella. It was a Danish lad, yeah.
It was a Danish lad. And I remember just sitting there going, like, he's going to shoot here. This is a goal. Bang. You give a player that much space of time. Scotland out. Here's a picture of them there. Look at them there. Very unhappy. I can't believe 12 tournaments, and they've not once made it out of the group stage. That is pathetic. I'm sorry, but it is pathetic. We've qualified for 6, and only twice we haven't got out of the tournament. That was Euro out of the group stage. It was Euro 88 and Euro 2012, and we were robbed in Euro 88. You could have won that tournament. Euro 2012 was probably just about right. But I think that's absolutely pathetic from Scotland. Like, that's what is it? Like, why? Granted they've got there and we haven't, but the players they've had, Mexico 86, although Alan Hansen didn't go. Your man Fergie was the manager. You look back, was it Italy 90? Peru lost to Peru, was it, or Costa Rica?
Costa Rica. Still a national holiday. Still a national holiday in Costa Rica because of that. Did you know that?
A bit like what we did for Liechtenstein.
But but what I do love is these games are exciting. You're getting so many late goals as well. I think that's something that everyone's nicked from Troy Parrott, obviously, doing that against Hungary, and then to see them do that last night against Scotland was upsetting for them, obviously, and going out. But I think yeah, it's been a good tournament. I've enjoyed it so far, but I think now you'll see that the top quality teams will come forward now, and but I think there will be a couple more shocks to come. I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Apparently they're going to break labour laws in Germany, are they? If that young lad plays for Spain again, which is Larry, 16-year-old.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
crazy, yeah.
I'm enjoying it anyway, and now we're going to get into the business end of it, and it's fantastic. And I hope you're enjoying it too. I haven't actually had a chance to fill my wall chart here that I'm looking at. I actually am going to fill that in. I got like the first. I actually haven't even filled it. Oh, anyway, but I am going to do that going forward. Right, we're going to move it on. Hopefully, you're enjoying the Euros at home. Thank you for tuning in here to Lansdowne Roar. As always, our Roar faithful. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Get involved, and then we'll pick apart your comments in the next episode. Depends what mood I'm in. We're going to talk about the main event now, and that is literally sort of breaking news since we started recording here a little bit, or we met up to see what we're going to talk about, and that is James McClean and Declan Rice. So you may remember James McClean on RTE as a pundit, and he's been causing lots of controversy on there. He picked out his old teammate Declan Rice and basically said he was overrated and wasn't world class. Pretty much said, didn't he, Martin, that he expects more from a world class player, where instead of just passing it back or sideways, he wants him doing more in midfield. Now, Declan Rice has responded to that, and this is what he had to say. Do you know what? I played with James for Ireland for 3 games, and I got on with him really well. I'm not going to sit here and slag him off. I thought he was a really top guy. When I left Ireland to come to England, I heard a few things he was obviously not happy about. He made comments a few years ago. It is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and say anything about him. He's had a great career himself. I think he's come to the end of his career now, and he's got over 100 caps for Ireland. It would be easy for me to sit here and say something back to him, but like I said, we are the opposite ends of our careers now. He's 35 and I'm 25. And just moving forward, I've known him, I've played, sorry, the article's just gone on me there. I've known him, I've played with him, he's entitled to his opinion, and I've had to fight a load of those opinions from other people before. And then, according to The Independent, which I'm reading this from, Rice offered the kicker. It might be a bit of bitterness towards me not playing for Ireland, but I've not got a bad word to say about him. To be honest, I see the comments, but I don't try to put too much energy into them. It is what it is, and you move on, you live and learn. Martin, your reaction there. I mean, first of all, do you think Rice, his comments on Rice, that he's not world class or he's overrated, do you think they're fair?
I think it was part of it's James McClean trying to earn himself.
Be the next Simon Dunphy.
Yeah, it's going to be controversial for the sake of it sometimes. A little bit. I mean, a lot of Irish fans are making more fuss of this than of McClean's comments than probably in a way Declan Rice even taken notice of. Gary Neville said something very similar about Declan Rice in his performance. I mean, the BBC have been quite scathing or the media have been a bit scathing of England's performances so far, justifiably so, I believe. But they even addressed that tonight. Lineker said, that that's our jobs. We're supposed to do that, and call it out as it is. And also said that the press in the your mates, Dave, in your press conferences, they actually used Lineker's words. Although he did say that England was shit on his own podcast, ironically, but he did say they're putting the pundits' views to the players to kind of stir a bit within the camp, and that's why they get reaction. And Harry Kane, I thought, spoke really well about it. And this is a little bit Declan Rice, being asked, what do you think of James McClean's comments? It is kind of incendiary because he could bite back if he was more of a volatile character. I think he's dealt with it very well. I don't think Declan Rice is world class at the moment. I think he could easily be, though. I think he's a fantastic footballer, and that's why I'm very pissed off that he's not playing for Ireland. James McClean's been controversial. I noticed Sam Allardyce called him out as well and said, who's James McClean? A little bit of tongue in cheek, I suppose, because he would have been very much a James McClean, a Sam Allardyce type of player. And Big Sam's also said he's looking for an international job now that Wales has become available as well. So, I just think it was. I think he's handled it really well, Rice. To be fair, answering it.
Yeah.
McClean's being controversial. We know that. And yeah, I mean that's it. Kind of it makes headlines, doesn't it? It does well for the broadcasters, sponsors. It all filters down to football. But yeah, I think we asked the question as well. Do you think do you think Rice is world class? And a little poll earlier we did, and most people kind of do agree with James McClean that he's not yet. So that's just it. I think he could be, but I think he's asked to do a different job though, isn't he? For them, yeah. Look, overwhelmingly in our vote, I said world class Deckers. Yes, 11%. No, 89%. So that's on our
89 points.
Twitter.
Yeah, I just had a look there. Yeah, look, I mean, I think McClean. Obviously, when we were in Portugal, and I was watching I was listening to his punditry, on the RT player, and I was like, oh my god, really? And I do think now he's gone in there with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, McClean. I found him very immature with his punditry, coming out and saying that England fans are arrogant. And that will get people in the pub going, yeah, you tell him, James.
Yeah,
that's
exactly it. Yeah,
that's bollocks, exactly. Though. I've lived in this country for 13 years, and you talk to most England fans and like, oh no. And they're my future brother-in-law, he's a West Ham fan. He's like, no, England, not going to do anything. My sister's English. She's like, nah, not going to do anything. Another lad who's an Arsenal fan I work with, he goes, he loves Arsenal, but nah, England, like there's no arrogance there. The whole song is coming home. Oh, that's arrogant. Look, we had it in Put 'Em Under Pressure, because Ireland had the greatest football team. It's a song. And I just think it's sort of, it's low hanging fruit. English fans are arrogant. No, I don't think so. You'll have them over there, and they're singing away. And I did see the one on Talksport. I did laugh when they were laughing at all the Scotland. Do you have any sympathy for Scotland? They're like, no. That's just a rivalry between both of them. I just think James McClean is sort of, he's playing to the crowd, that particular crowd. I don't think it's very mature. And some of the stuff he's come out with, I think it's a complete utter guff. He's entitled to his opinion, as I'm entitled to mine. I'm sure if he watches this, he'll make his opinion very clear on me. Yeah,
I think it's an interesting point you said about England. Like, obviously we're both living in London, and I think these kind of tournaments though, they're slow burners now with England, and I think that's what the players are kind of saying. Carl Walker said it the other day. It was a bit absurd what he said, but he kind of said at the end of the game, we're top of the group. I don't see what the fuss is about. They're a good side. They'll ease their way into tournaments and not peak. They will. I think he's got it wrong. I don't think they'll win it. Before it, I thought they've got a fantastic chance. When you look at their team, but I think Southgate's going to mess it up. To be honest, he's made too many mistakes with things.
He's a weak link.
Yeah, I don't think, for example, I mean, we can kind of relate this to Ireland and experimentation. I've always said, John O'Shea's selections, that he wasn't kind of brave enough with, he wasn't going to rock the boat. He was going to go with quite safe and tested kind of with the Irish selection. I don't believe that Southgate, I don't understand why he's saying we're going to do an experiment with Trent Alexander-Arnold in a tournament. Why'd you do it now? Like, that shows you're not prepared. That's a bit of desperation. I didn't understand the choice of Luke Shaw that's a little bit not arrogant. Well, it probably is arrogance, thinking, well, they'll be ready for the quarterfinal. You've got to get out of the group first. I mean, they've got out of the group. They'll be slow burners in it, and they'll be solid when it comes to the knockouts. They'll be hard to beat, I think. But the English kind of fans around us, they're not all excited about it yet.
No.
They're not all in. It's coming home and all that. That kind of, the nation's not behind them at the moment. Whereas I think, the German results, probably in contrast, the home nations, they're doing very, very well. The two wins, and then the draw last night, not losing the game is important, obviously, as a host nation, and getting out your group and just having that undefeated record, just for your mentality as a squad, is very good. So, that's better for them.
I'm just checking here. So if England win their group,
they play on Saturday at 5:00.
So yeah, Gelsenkirchen, if they win their group, that's 1C, and they'll play third place in D, E, or F. So that could be fucking hell. Where's Carl Vorderman? I feel like Alan Partridge, with a
no, don't even try and work it out. But I mean, look, they'll get a good round. Like they'll get a decent enough draw. I think it was.
Jesus. Could be Georgia.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. That's just you don't know yet at the moment, do we? But I think it's that's where the more pressure is. I think I can kind of get the players' points. They're biting back a little bit. The pundits saying get behind us because they've got in early on them, haven't they? I think the press, like, it's not good enough, not good enough. Well, they've ground out wins and a performance. I think that they're worried because when he got it wrong against France last time, when he's making subs and it was ridiculous.
He should have gone. He should have gone after the France game. It has run its course. They have a fabulous team. Now people are talking about, an England fan was talking to me. There's maybe Pep Guardiola, get him in. Just talk about him because he's going to leave City. Like English FA could afford Pep Guardiola, but my point about that was, so I don't think Pep Guardiola, you're not going to get the style of football that you get in Man City and in England. And that's because he doesn't have enough time. The first year, Man City was a bit of a write-off because it took time. He had to eke out, no, Joe Hart, you're not for me. No, get this lad in, Ederson, get these other guys in. It took a year to bed that in. You don't get that with international football.
No.
So I don't know. That's not going to work for them. Jurgen Klopp's the same. That took about a year or two. He didn't have the money that Pep did, so he had to do it kind of the longer way to bed those players in to get them playing the style of football he wants. You don't get that time in international football. It's a tricky one for England where they're going to go next. But anyway, we'll leave it there. I'm sure. I don't know. They're not going to win England, Martin. I know you said it as well. They're not going to win it, and I think it's down to the manager. But we're going to move it on. We're going to
too many mistakes in that team, I think, as well. Fine margins. Absolutely. I think they can get torn apart at times.
100%. Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield, just not going to happen. Anyway, we're going to move it on. And this man, Roy Keane, today, an episode released of the Stick to Football podcast, which is a part of the whole overlap thing. And he was the guest. He's normally, I wouldn't say pundit or host, but he's normally on there. But he was the interviewee, shall we say, because I think someone let them down or whatever. They do this, don't they? They have, like, Ian Wright was one. No, Gary Neville was one, wasn't he? He was the first because somebody let him down. So I say it was a nice little Brucey bonus for you, Martin, when that dropped in your YouTube box, eh?
I haven't listened to it fully, but I've also seen the headlines as you're going to come on to now.
Well, basically, yeah, it is actually good. I've been a bit skeptical about the Stick to Football podcast. It is a bit of a job for the boys, network now at the moment. Get Wayne Rooney, you can't string two words together. In his punditry was laughable. Plymouth Argyle manager, anyway, and it was very good. He goes into a bit more depth, actually, more depth in this about his upbringing and his journey into football than there was in his first book that Eamon Dunphy wrote, which is not a good book. At Keane, as I see, it's not a good book. It's not, and Dunphy came out and said it because he wasn't given anything. Keane didn't really take it seriously. He didn't give a lot of information on it. So he goes into a lot more there. He tells you about the false course and great story about Brian Clough and how the club thought they held him to that he was holding the club to ransom. With the new contract, he was trying to get a better contract with the club with Nottingham Forest and the whole deal with Man United and of course Kenny Dalglish when he promised to go to Blackburn. So it's really good, and then kind of at the end, they go through all of that, and he goes on about Ferguson, don't touch inside pan or anything like that, thank God. But then they talked about management, and he said that I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing. I have a comfortable life, is what he said. He kept saying, and he has a very comfortable life, and he does his bit with ITV in the Euros, and he does his bit with Sky Sports when the Premier League season's back, and they asked, Gary Neville asked him, he goes, did you speak to Ireland this year? Well, he said, yeah, I did. And then Jill Scott?
Yeah.
Jill Scott turned around and said, "I thought you were going to be unveiled as Ireland manager at one point." He goes, "No, nothing came of it." And he said, later on, he was asked about jobs. And I actually think before this, he was asked what would be your dream job, or what job would you really like? And he goes, "Well, it's going to sound silly now, but I suppose my dream job would be the Ireland job." But he thinks that that ship has sailed. And he did talk to the FAI earlier this year, which is kind of amazing how that conversation would have been, Martin. Get your thoughts on it. Like, you have somebody who has a massive pull for the association, and now for an association that have no money, and they've had to resort to tactics, and that will be the next topic we'll talk about, so stay tuned for that one. Stuff like that. They've no money. Yeah, you have a guy who would probably do it for a reasonable amount of money. He's comfortable. Would do it probably for the love of it, for the love of his country, I suppose. And they've said no to him, and yet they still don't have a manager. They haven't got a pot to piss in, the FAI. So, what are your thoughts on that, Martin? You spoke to the FAI, but nothing.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I will obviously catch up on it fully, but I think this is Roy being quite clever with this. The FAI are no further along, I don't believe, with their recruitment of the manager. This is Roy letting it be known that, maybe come again and have a chat with me, because it's now his dream job and he's had a little bit of time with it. It will suit him. Roy would want to do this job very much like Martin O'Neill did. He'll still do all his punditry. He'll still do the overlap. He'll still do all those things as long as he can commit to it and feel that he's given the right commitment to Ireland as well. First of all, though, from a commercial perspective, he will put bums on seats, sell out that Viva, which we'll come on to chatting about. But, without doubt, that is a commercially minded organisation, can bring him in and he will sell tickets. He will be, the key little kind of quotes from his press conferences would be dynamite. He'll upset people a little bit. I think he's learned an awful lot from manager. That's what he's kind of alluding to. He's also learned a lot contractually of what his value is, and that's interesting. That you were talking earlier about managers kind of going over their sell by date or needing time. The Ireland job does need time. Roy, rushed. I think he's been clever in this as well. He said about the bits I've read from the interview. He says that when he only wanted, it's mad, really. He was offered 3 years at Sunderland, and he said, "I only want a 2-year contract."
No, it was 5 years at Sunderland.
5 years, sorry, yeah, and then
3 at Ipswich, and he took 2.
Sorry, but yeah, that's so. My point now is still, he's thinking he can get the job done. Whereas Ireland, it probably is money wise. He's probably thinking, if I was representing him, I'd be saying, right, he wants a 4-year contract, but he also wants to know that start selling out the Aviva, that he's getting certain, not image rights, but he's getting some commercial kind of reward out of that as well, because that will happen. I mean, it'll attract sponsors straight away, Roy. The link up with Sky, let's not be naive about this. You don't know, like Sky are principal sponsor of Ireland now. Roy is a Sky man. He's contracted with 2 or 3 broadcasters now. So you just don't know how football works. And it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility now that he could get the Ireland job. It could happen.
I think Gary Neville as well, we'd be probably giving him a bit of advice there. Like, there's no... Like, even Gary Neville turned around and says he couldn't believe something along the lines of, like, I can't believe a country like Ireland, that, they didn't get the business, you didn't get the deal done with Ireland. It's kind of politely saying, I can't believe they didn't go for you, basically. So, yeah, I see this very subtly. I never thought,
I think it's him letting everyone know that, I'm still around, and, the Euro is everything he's going to have Euro-wise. He's getting the best opportunity in a way. He's watching our competition now of who we're going to be facing. It's all fitting into place in a way.
And Ian Wright touched on that, didn't he, as well? Like he said, you watch so much football.
Yeah.
Now the way I never really thought of it that way.
Get your money on. It could happen. I think the way I'm even thinking about it's like with this is like what's it, Praro or something like that. It's like
Yeah.
We're unraveling it, Dave. I think we figured it all out. This is the
Well,
master plan of the FAI.
do you remember when? No, not master plan from the FAI at all. But I remember like when Wayne Rooney was on the overlap, and before he joined the overlap team, or he was on the Stick to Football podcast, and they talked to him about Birmingham. Like he'd just been canned by Birmingham. You were treated really harshly there. That was really, that wasn't, and he was given time and he wasn't challenged at anything. He was like, yeah, they never gave me a chance. They never gave me that, and he was sort of allowed to sort of sell himself. And then, of course, Plymouth Argyle, I'm pretty sure, watched that and maybe had, maybe some of Plymouth went, maybe this guy has learned from his lessons. And the same with Roy Keane today. I was watching on the Tube, download on the YouTube channel. And he was going on about, I was a bit impatient at Sunderland. It's not, I was trying to get into the top 6, like in the second season, what, kind of show that he's mellowed a bit. He's kind of selling himself very subtly. And I think there's a little bit of a bit of a nudge there from Gary Neville, because Gary Neville said it to him before, didn't he? When he did the original overlap interview with Keane, when they're walking through the forest, he goes, you need to learn how to network. And Roy's like, I can't be arsed doing that. Look,
it could happen. And another thing I think is key to point out as well, just on obviously our other candidates for the job. And you think of John O'Shea. So John O'Shea, I knew was going over to the Euros to kind of watch games and part of his kind of coaching journey. But I think it's quite important to note that a week ago on his Instagram, John O'Shea said, 2 strong opponents, Hungary and Portugal, a challenge for the players and myself as a manager. Great to come away with a win. Thanks to the players and staff, both on the pitch and in the background. I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I think that was him basically saying he kind of knows that he won't be getting the Ireland job, and he's going off now to do something different. I think he will be, going over there scouting, learning about the opposition. It would be ridiculous if the FAI didn't have him doing some kind of consultancy job in a way, or now, like go over there, UEFA look after these kind of situations. Robbie Keane's probably over there as an ambassador or something. That's shots fired at Robbie there, sorry. But John O'Shea will be over there, networking there, scouting. Football's such a little cliquey industry that, you get all these. Robbie Keane, I'm not sticking him out, but he done a report after the last Euros, and he had to present that at UEFA. They analyse the games, they analyse how football's developing. Paki Bonner's very involved in that as well. So John O'Shea will definitely be overdoing that. Roy is doing that a little bit from the studios, as I said. So I just think it's whoever comes in, we've got to be using the knowledge that John O'Shea's got or what he's worked with of the team, so it doesn't all fall away. And I think that's probably, I do think the FAI have that kind of plan in place that John O'Shea will be involved, and the backroom staff kind of is there a little bit perhaps, or will just come in for that next game. But I mean, it's only it's not far away from that game in September, is it? And
well, that's a lovely segue, Mark, because speaking of September, and this is your time to shine, baby. Well, it was announced. When was it announced? It was announced on the 20th of June by the FAI that the UEFA Nations League pack pre-sale tickets, which go on sale, by the way, on the 27th of June at 10 a.m., but they're going to sell it as a treble pack. So you can only get them, Martin, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. You are our tickets guru. I believe you can only get them at this moment as a treble. As a 3-pack thing. So that's England in September, Greece in September as well, actually, and Finland, I believe, is November. Yes, because we got Finland, Greece away in October. Yeah, so go on.
Yeah, so this was kind of breaking news, I suppose, in a way that a lot of Irish fans are disappointed with this. Obviously, I'm club chairman of Risk London, and season ticket holders as well. We bought 6-7 game package as part of a good deal, and now we were all speculating about what they did and how they were going to do games, and we weren't enamored really by some of the previous opposition we had, but we knew the England game was coming up, and that was the banker for this. When they had the Nations League draw, they wanted to get England commercially so they could sell that ticket, because I think I've said it on the show before, I think we've only sold out since 2010, August first game against Argentina, many years ago now. We've only sold it out fully about 6 times. So England is the one, and now they're going to jump on the back of that and try and sell the rest of the games on it as a free game package. So it's like half a season ticket. So we don't know the money yet, right? That's the thing. You don't know how much they're going to be asking for
Not
yet.
announced until the 27th.
If you think about the price of a premium ticket, though, probably 100 plus euros. You know, the premium season ticket, I think last year was 400 for 6 games. You're probably looking at, is it going to be 300? I don't know. But, that's what I'm interested to see, to be honest, because we want to make sure that season ticket is valued, because what will happen otherwise commercially next year when they sell it, people won't be conned by it. They'll just wait for the games they want to go to. It's very disappointing in a sense that Irish fans want to be able to go and watch their team. We want to be playing in front of full house, of course. England's a nice, attractive game. Probably will be an earlier kickoff as well on a Saturday. But the other 2 games are quite difficult. They're midweeks, difficult to get to. So anyone travelling from the country has to give up days of work, things like that. And to make them part of the trio package isn't very fair, I don't think, on the match-going fans. I mean, look, just perhaps trust that, sell the England one, and then trust that, we're going to have a new manager in, and you're going to get a buzz of that for the other ones. And trust that the Irish public haven't lost faith in football, I think, is what they need to do. And this is showing, I think, that they are just going for the big money off these free games. And
what I don't like about it is that they've given the fans absolutely no reason to celebrate. We've no manager. We don't know who the manager is going to be in September. Look, it's England.
Yeah.
We're probably going to get a hiding. Could be European Championship. Oh, we don't think it will be. They've absolutely made a complete bollocks of going to the government in February, the Public Accounts Committee, and Jonathan Hilley's no longer CEO. Made a complete shambles of that. They've made a complete shambles of the managerial search, and now it's like, oh, by the way, give us your money, and if you want to see England play, you're going to have to buy tickets for Greece in September, which there'll be something still to play for against Greece at home. But then by the time we get to the game against Finland, there might be absolutely nothing to play for. And then I think it's England after that, isn't it? Our final game in Wembley.
I think there'll be a bit of backlash with this. When the pricing is revealed, though, Dave, is going to be key, because that's going to show you in comparison. People aren't idiots. So I will be comparing the cost of that free game package to what I paid for my season ticket. And I'll be going, hang on a second, is that right? Have I had value out of my commitment to Irish football of buying a season ticket for 6 games compared to someone now coming in for the half games? And well, I might as well have just waited. It could be an option, could have been the option for me. And again, I think they've got it horrendously wrong. This is holiday time now, right? We're in a cost of living crisis. You're going to be asking for people to pay up front for 3 games. One of them's in November, and you're asking them to pay for that ticket at the end of June for a game.
We don't even know when the manager. We don't even know the manager.
We don't know the manager, but I'm saying people have got. If you bought that for argument's sake, right? Say if it's €100 per premium ticket. Now I know not everyone's doing that, right? But say if it is, that's €300 if it was. Okay, that's asking for €300 now, going into holiday season. Like I think that's a bit mad, and and you're banking that you're going to be able to go to the games, and I don't think people will, and they're just going to wait. They'll just wait, and then you'll get tickets half given away and stuff.
I think they're eroding the trust for the quick buck, really, of the Ireland fan. I mean, like, the trust in gutter anyway, and they've only got themselves to blame for that. I'm sorry, but they do. As I said, the shambles. We're only 6 months, literally. Like we're kind of at the halfway stage of the year, and it's been a complete cluster from the FAI with off the field stuff and for the on field stuff as well. And I think they're just further corroding that, like everything that's happened, as I said, with the Public Accounts Committee, with the managerial thing, the jersey launch. You can't. Here's a question: can you buy the Ireland away shirt yet?
No, don't worry about that. Yeah. Don't worry about things like that. That like sensible things that you don't get me on the shirt stuff, because it's just in the middle of the height of the Euros. People are, kids are going to be going around wearing every other nation's, dare I say, even England kits. God, you should be
Well,
Given
not
hiding that happens. Not
well,
in
not in not in
not in my
Ireland.
house either. But still, yeah, you can. But you can't get the Ireland shirt. So new shirt.
I'm just
Wore
looking at.
it. Nah.
At time of recording, I'm looking here on shop.irelandfootball.ie, and you still can't get the away shirt.
No.
It's just home kit, training, home men, women's, kids, men's
Jumble
kids.
sale. Look through it on Lifestyle Sports. You can still get New Balance. You can still get Umbro. You can still get Castora. You can get the free jumble sale, basically. Because someone's, it's criminal, really. But look, I don't know. There's just the FAI still, with so many ways, is behind the times in a complete mess. We don't have a CEO now. They've got to get that sorted out. They're going to be recruiting for that, obviously, and perhaps David Carell, the guy who's our interim. We love an interim, of course. He might get the job full time, but he's got a big job in his hands if he does. And it's just taking it for granted. Like, I think even this Euros, looking at it, we're just falling further and further behind. I'm gutted we're not there, but we're falling further and further behind. And part of me, I've got mixed feelings about the Euros. I'm thinking where we are as a team, we wouldn't be ready to go in there, and we would have had a battle. It would have been a little bit like 2012. I think we would have got absolute hidings and stuff. We'd have had a good trip and stuff, but I don't think we would have competed yet. But we've got to make sure we get a manager in who's going to be able to qualify for these, because that generates the interest in Irish football, of course. That generates money, the commercial side of the game, and we're just falling further and further behind. And the next one, of course, is in Dublin. Part of it is. So it's really important we get there. And it just seems no kind of light at the end of the tunnel for Irish football at the moment.
Just very quickly as well, before we wrap it up here, but I mean, obviously, just to talk a little bit further about the manager, Roy Keane, as we mentioned, it's his dream job. Obviously, this man here, Hervé Renard, has confirmed that he's leaving his role as the France national team head coach at the end of the 2024 Paris Olympics, if anyone's watching. And also, there was something there about Willie Sagnol, the Georgian manager, and they're still very much in this competition. With their point, they get a win in the next game, and they're going into the next stage. Willie Sagnol, many believe to be Stephen Kenny's full-time successor, and even he's come out and said, "No, I'm happy here with Georgia."
Yeah, I can understand his being asked at a press conference. He said it's not the time and place, of course. I'm kind of paraphrasing, of course, but he said, he sits down with the president, the director of football, whoever it is, with them. I mean, they've got all that in place apparently. But he sat down with them and said, we're at a tournament and this is what I'm concentrating on, and he can see himself there for many years.
I consider myself working in Georgia for the next years.
Yeah. So I think, look, we've kind of alluded to it. We think obviously it's gone. The plan, the time frames all went out the window previously. It's gone very quiet. Mark Canham. They'll wait and see the fallout from the Euros and who's available. They'll wait for some of these club jobs as well to see who's getting appointed those, because it's still, Wales. We're in a situation now where Wales are looking for a manager, and there'll inevitably be sackings from some of these teams who fail at the Euros. I mean, I'll be like Steve Clarke. Is he going to stay on as Scotland manager? You don't know. So there'll be a lot of movement, and then it's gonna who's filling them jobs, and it's a little bit of merry-go-rounds. But that's where I think Keane's been a bit clever with it financially as well. Roy will know exactly what the money is. Let's not beat around the bush about that. It might not be that's important for him, but he's not going to undersell himself. But Roy will definitely know what Martin O'Neill was getting and what his assistant, and
it could be going to get anywhere near that.
No, but it could be budgetary though as well. I'm thinking, am I going to do that, or am I underselling myself? You just don't know. And then it could be a case of, I mean, if I was Roy Keane, I'd be saying, right, I want this. I know you can't afford that, but you link my job then to something in the background that, when I sell out the stadium, when I'm going to be box office for you, coming up against, he could be up against Gareth Southgate in his first game. Remembering the time he stamped on him against.
I actually agree with him doing that. I saw that original tackle. I always thought, you dirty bastard. But when I actually saw the Gareth Southgate almost broke his leg. Then he was a leg breaker he went in on, and luckily he had his foot up, and even Dennis Irwin went in and gave him the.
And Ray Houghton. Ray was in that as well.
Ray was in that for Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, Martin. Thank you very much.
We're not leaving it yet, Dave. We're talking about summer, Dave. No.
Sorry.
Jesus.
I'm
Whoa,
taking away.
whoa.
I'm taking away your moment. Sorry.
You're taking away my moment.
This.
Yeah.
We have a competition, Martin. I'll let you take it away, my boy.
We do. We do have a competition for the Raw Faithful, and to anyone following Irish football, we've been very generously given 2 tickets as a competition prize to see the Wolftones in their last ever London performance. It's on Friday the 5th of July in Finsbury Park in London, so round the corner from the Emirates Stadium, basically. Niall McNamee, former guest of the show here, he's on the supporting cast. I was going to say the undercard, but hopefully there won't be much fighting at the event, although you never know. But yeah, so if you do want to enter the competition, we just need you to follow us on socials, share our post about the Wolftones gig, and of course be following the page and retweet it and let us know who you would bring along, and we will announce the winner on the 29th. So you've got a few days to enter. Share the love on this, and if you do want to get tickets for the gig, as we said, it's the Wolftones' last performance in London. On Friday the 5th of July. So you can get your tickets from Ticketmaster, and they probably won't be getting excessively increasing and doing some mad deals like the FAI do. So yeah, thank you to Festival Republic for the competition prize.
Well, there you go. You got up until the 29th of June to get involved in that.
I mean, everyone's saying, Dave. I mean, I've seen the Wolftones before lots of times. I saw them in their last gig as well. Let's be honest. But I mean, the hot gig of the summer in London at the moment is Taylor Swift, but it's actually not. It's the Wolftones, Finsbury Park, 5th of July.
Foo Fighters for me last week, but just saying, that's what the 2 lads. Anyway, we are now going to leave it there. Thank you very much, Martin. As always, thank you very much for watching at home. And as always, if you like what you see, you love what you hear, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. And please give the Facebook page a cheeky subscribe. And if you want opinion, lots of them coming out at the moment, head over to lansdowneroar.ie. That is lansdowneroar.ie. Anyway, I'm David Dunn. He's Martin Prendergast, and we are out of here. Good luck, good night, God bless, and come on, you boys and green.